discourse. Now, for many years, Nigerians have been grappling with exorbitant charges for electricity. Well, according to some of them, not consumed. Well, the unregulated estimated billing system adopted by some discos for metered electricity users has caused untold hardship. Now, but it's cherry news. Many are saying that affected Nigerians as the House of Representatives moves to stop the issuance of estimated bills to customers by electricity distribution companies. That's discos. The bill, sponsored by Majority Leader Femi Gbajabiamila, criminalizes non-provisions of prepaid meters after the application and proposes a fine between 500,000 and 1 million naira or 6 months jail term for illegal disconnection of consumer lights and for failure to carry out the provision of the proposed law. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, says the government is working to end issues of estimated billings with a proposed grant of 37 billion naira to a private sector operator to supply meters to discos so as to bridge the gap of shortage of meters. Well, to put this into perspective and to give more insight to this, I have with me in the studio the Executive Director of the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors, ANED, the President of Sunday Oduntan. Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Let me start with this direct question. Criminalizing estimated billings. What's your direct reaction to that?
Well, criminalizing estimated billing is surely not the best way to go. And I will explain that. But let me start by saying that we understand the concerns of the legislature and the reason why they decided to take that step. We're just saying that they need to have a second look at it, and they should refer back to the submission made by the Federal Minister of Power, by the Minister of Power himself, and by our regulator, NEC. For those two bodies to recommend that that is not the way to go shows you that indeed such action has many implications. The implications are such that were not intended by the legislature. I think what we should do is to look at the problem and how best to solve the problem. Let me start by saying that nobody is more interested in metering than us, the discos. Number one, we know for a fact that metering results in 30% reduction in our collection losses. That's number one. Number two, metering reduces a lot of conflict when it comes to the issue of payment by our customers. Once a customer is metered, the issue of conflict in terms of whether everybody call every bill crazy bill. Not all bills are crazy, but some are crazy. The system is not fair. It's not the best thing to do. And the reason why you have estimated billing anywhere in the world, you still have the same thing in some part of the United States, where you have estimated billing is mainly because people are not metered. That's different from when somebody is not at home, they cannot access your meter, and then they send you an estimated billing for the month. That's a different scenario. That happens. That's one of the factors. But the main problem is the issue of metering gap. We met a gap of more than 5 million. Even as of today, we still have a gap of about 4.1 million meters. And to do this will take time. But let me say very clearly, Nigerian discos as of this afternoon are no more in charge of metering. Our regulator, the federal government, through NAC, has come up with an initiative called MAP, Meters Asset Provider. And that program, that regulation, read out by the regulator, is aimed at bridging the metering gap. And we're supporting it, we welcome it, we cooperate with it, and we enjoy and implore the members of the National Assembly to do the same.
Because metering has already been capital intensive before now.
It is, because, you see, meter is not cheap. And I've explained in another forum that, you know what, on average, three-phase meter on average, smart meter. But when people talk about meter, there are different kinds of meter, just like car. You cannot compare Fiat with Mercedes in terms of how long it will last, what work it can do. Yeah. The kind of meter we use now are smart meter that can pick to the back end of the disco's IT. In other words, meters that can be difficult to bypass, meters that can tell us when there's light or there's no light, where the such meters are installed. Now, let us give the federal government that opportunity, that cooperation, that support to allow MAP to work. MAP enables people to pay for their meters, and the meter will be installed by an external different contractor. Okay, we open up our own infrastructure to them, they come in and meter. And for us, anything that will bring meter, we support. So it's not about us owing meter or doing meter, no. We are just saying that the current gap, for the current gap to be filled, requires a lot of money. For three-phase meters, smart meters, on average, it's about 73,000 naira. And I repeat this, it's about 70,000 naira on average. To do 4 million meter for that amount, that's about 299 billion naira. But not just about money now. You can, even those who are coming in can only do on average monthly maximum of about 20,000 meters. If that is the case, it means that you have to do, you cannot do more than 220,000 meters a month. Of course, with time, that will increase and be able to do more than 2 million a year. With time, we're able to bridge the gap. Remember, people are building houses every day. More and more are coming into the system. And we're doing enumeration that's capturing more customers who in the past were tapping electricity and using light for free. So the issue that we need to concentrate on is the issue of energy theft. About 50% of all energy supply, total energy supply, about 50% is stolen. In the case of meters, even people bypass prepaid meters a lot.
Exactly.
An average of between 20 and 30% of that is bypass. We did a study here in Ikeja about 2 years ago. I found that within 2 months of installation, 40% of those meters were bypassed. So what we should concentrate on is a law that will seek to criminalize energy theft. That's what I think we should do. And then we should cooperate with the federal government on this MAP regulation to ensure that Nigerians are metered. I want my customers to be metered, because if people are not metered, we'll continue to have this conflict in terms of energy bill and energy supplied. But if you are metered, that can help us, because if there's any form of energy theft, we can then monitor, we can check. But when people are not metered, some people are having to pay more than they should pay, while some people are even paying far, far less than they should pay. Those ones will not talk, they will not complain. But what we are saying is that we need people to have meters.
Many are saying that maybe before now, because maybe many Nigerians don't know, and you as the distribution should bridge that gap, that you people actually buy electricity now and pay. You know, many still, because I was at a forum where they were trying to talk about the power sector lately, and some consumers don't even know how power is. So tell us, what's really the process now? Because we know with challenges going on the generation and distribution, buying the electricity and distributing, because we cannot continue to pay according to that. We can't. Yes, I'm also a Nigerian. I'm a consumer of electricity. Pay for what we don't consume.
Thank you very much. People need to be aware that electricity is a product like any other product, like bottled water, like Coca-Cola or Fanta, any product. And we have a value chain in the industry. We have generation company, those are the producers. We have the transmission company of Nigeria, those are the transporter. And we have the electricity distribution company that I represent. I represent all the 11. Now, as distributors, we distribute what has been produced by the producer, but we have to pay the producer, we have to pay for transportation. The TCM, which is Transmission Company of Nigeria, is 100% owned by the federal government, but we have to pay for their own service. Now, as distributor, we buy electricity. Today, we buy electricity in excess of 80 naira, 88 kobo per kilowatt hour. We are only allowed by law to sell for 31 naira, 76 kobo. If you look at the gap between 31 naira and 80 naira,
who bears that brunt?
Nobody does, as of today. That's what we are saying. We are saying that there's a huge gap that's more than 1 trillion naira. That's the shortfall. When you talk about shortfall represents revenue that ought to have accrued to the system that is not there. And the shortfall is not just for discos alone. It's for generation companies, transmission companies, distribution companies, even for gas suppliers who are not in the sector, but who supply gas to the system. So when people don't pay below the value chain to us, it means that we are not able to pay to those from whom we bought the electricity. When people tap like electricity or steal energy somewhere, or they bypass, when an hotelier bypass some of his air conditioners, what that person is doing is denying us the opportunity to pay for the energy that we have purchased from the generation company through embed. So people need to know that if you are a distributor of a product, you pay the producers, you supply to the end users, you collect money to be able to pay and buy more again. So we people are not paying, that means you will not be able to pay to buy another set of products. So the problem in the sector has to do with this traditional attitude of non-payment. There's a culture of non-payment. You give people 5,000 naira bill, they pay 2,000 naira. And that's why you see a lot of people say, crazy billing, crazy, crazy, crazy. They talk about crazy as if everybody is crazy. The truth of the matter is that we are not crazy. Everybody is not crazy. Not all the bills are crazy. But the fact is that you have a lot of accumulated arrears with time because people are not used to paying for energy. And I also support that people should not be paying for what they did not consume. That's why we need metering. And I still want to apologize to those good Nigerians who are willing, able, and always love to pay for their electricity. I apologize for wherever there's problem, and I say that you can contest your bill. When they give you a bill that you feel that is not yours, that bill is more than what you consume, please contest it, pay the equivalent of the last uncontested bill, and I assure you that we will do something about it, and we will mitigate those things and ensure that such things are correct.
Now, this map that we just talked about,
yes,
this metering access provider thing,
yes,
that everybody believes that, well, in quotes, is the Messiah to come save us with the issue. Do you think that, what do you think about implementation? We've had policies in Nigeria. What do you think about the proper implementation of MAP? Do you think MAP will really get us what we need as with regards to metering?
We can, in terms of the issue of implementation or whether or what that will lead us to, we can only appeal to our regulator, NAC, and of course to the federal government. It is their initiative, it is their project, and I'm hoping that they will make it to work. We believe that it will work because we believe in what the government is doing. We try to partner and cooperate with the federal government. So whatever they bring on board to solve the problem. For me, as an Egba man, what I want to see in Abeokuta is electricity 20 to 23 hours. So anything that will now make it happen, I will support. So electricity will only be available if people pay for it and we can expand, increase generation.
Exactly.
Electricity will only be available if there is reduced conflict, if people have something with which they can measure what they use, like SIM card in the telecoms industry. Metering is our own SIM card. So I believe, and I strongly believe, that MAP regulation will work, and I hope all stakeholders will do everything to make it work.
I want to say something, and I would like you to be... private sector involvement in the power sector was to come and improve the sector. Yes. Like the chairman of Sahara Group said when I interviewed him, talking about government inefficiency. They couldn't meet up at that time. But tell us, improving capacity, investors, are they really meeting up with some of the terms of this agreement? And where is government also failing to meet up with their own terms of agreement?
Thank you very much. I can confirm to you, and I can say this on behalf of generation companies and distribution companies. Those are the two layers in the value chain that are private. Transmission is still public, so it's federal government owned, 100%. For generation companies, for we distribution companies, I can tell you that a lot of value has been added to the industry in the last 5 years, since November 1, 2013. But I can also confirm that not enough has been done. We are not there yet. And part of the reason for that is that you cannot build efficiency into a system where there's a huge shortfall. And people should be wondering, we're talking about shortfall all the time. What is the reason and what are the causes of the shortfall? The shortfall began because the last government failed to live up to the agreement that they signed up to. I think we should, as a country, begin to respect the stances of contracts. I think we should, as a country, begin to know that once you sign the dotted line that I will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you should do 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And in the agreement, it says your performance of 6 to 10 is predicated upon me doing 1 to 5. Guess what? Number 1 to 5 has not been done till date. And one of those is the issue of appropriate pricing of the product. When you talk about product, before you fix price for any product, that is produced in a factory, you have to know the cost of production. That is simple economics. And once you know the cost of production, there's no way you can do well if you put the cost, the selling price, below the cost. What we have in the power sector today, and gentlemen, why you don't have light, is because the cost of buying electricity is far, far higher than the cost of selling the same to you. So we are selling to you at 31.76 kobo, because that is the law given to us by a regulator since February 1, 2016. And we are buying at 18.88 kobo. Go and do your own arithmetic. If you are buying a loaf of bread at 18 naira, and the state government says you should be selling the same loaf of bread at 31 naira at Oshoji market, can you continue to survive as a business? Can you be there for long?
Well, maybe there's some
just
shocks.
Appealing that
Maybe
we need to do something
shocks. Maybe government is
about
giving
this.
some shocks.
We want electricity.
For the distribution.
And if government don't want tariff shock for the people, they should now look back at the other countries, Senegal, so many other countries, what they have done, even Egypt, and do the same, which is, okay, find a way to bridge that shortfall if you don't want us to pass it to the end user. But the simple thing is that you cannot build something on nothing. You cannot expect efficiency where there is huge shortfall. You cannot expect me to provide transformer or to repair it for you or buy pole or cable for you when I'm doing a business where I'm buying at 80 naira and selling at 31 naira.
As we round up,
you cannot tie my legs and expect me to run. I'm talking here because my mouths are not closed. The moment you padlock my mouth and you say I should sing hallelujah, I cannot sing.
I
it's
know.
a simple thing.
As we round up this, I think something is important for the discourse too. Energy audit and also teaching people how to conserve energy. Are you doing enough of that?
Yes, we're actually doing, part of what we're doing as part of our enumeration program is, one, taking loads, that energy audit, where we go. Again, we've seen with tests that our research has shown that when we meter people, they manage energy more, which is why I told you earlier that we are more interested in metering. Those who think we don't want to meter are mischievous or ignorance of what is going on in the power sector. Because people put on their light in the afternoon when they know they are not paying for it. If your meter is clicking, it's a prepaid meter and you have to put money there, or even postpaid meter. Because again, let me correct this. When people talk about metering, meters are not just prepaid. Nigeria talk about prepaid. Even the proposed law is mentioning prepaid when you should just say meter. Smart meter come in two ways: smart postpaid, smart prepaid. It's not a difference between prepaid and smart. No, smart prepaid, smart postpaid. So we are doing a lot in educating our people about them not putting on light where it's of no use. I've seen areas in the afternoon where they put on light in the on an evening, on a Saturday evening, and they will not come back to that shop until Monday morning. The light will be on throughout Sunday. These are the practices that we need to end, and we need to do something about ensuring that there is energy conservation.
Well, I must thank you. I know the passion is there, I know, but let's just leave it at that today. We also have another time again to talk more about the power sector. It's a very important sector that can really, really help kickstart the economy again if it's really stabilized. Thank you very much, Executive Director of the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors. Thank you very much for joining us on Business Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Yes, before we go, let us tell you that crude oil prices ticked up at the international market following a drop in shale gas production. At the London market, the Brent crude moves to $76 a barrel. For OPEC basket, Brent price rises to $74 per barrel. According to International Energy Agency, capacity will likely remain tight, while production will stay strong till the first quarter of 2019. Well, and that's it on the show. Thank you very much for watching. I am Tolulokpe Ogunjobi. Join us tomorrow, God willing, for a fresh edition. Fadishola Shotinwa is waiting for you to bring you up to speed with the news at the top of the hour. Bye for now.